And so the mini updates is just an opportunity for us to go around the room what everybody's doing. And so we're going to start over here with Monica, and we're asking that the program lead does the mini update on whatever you're working on. And then if you're not the program lead, you can just introduce yourself and ask this person. So Monica, you're first.
Thanks, Chris.
The microphones and rings should be picking us all up, so speak with your outside voice here, but the microphones should be able to allow everyone online to hear. That's scary.
And one quick question, I know a lot of you joined the Wi-Fi, at some point you did the exercise, if you don't need it, connect, you're kind of seeing a message of, blowing up the.
I'm Monica with Pacific State Marine Fisheries Commission, and I help coordinate with the Klamath Basin Fisheries Collaborative. So we got our huge hit dad collaborative running with trying to help certain entities get most of their historical data in there, and we've also standardized their data to get in there. It's now being downloaded. It's all some data from downloaded now. And we've also worked to create survey 123 forms for when people go into the field, they can actually start collecting data in the field already standardized, and that will go directly into the database as well. Fast and easy.
Oh, yeah, I was myself. I'm Laura Erickson. I'm a program manager with the Pacific States Marine Fisheries Commission. Am I just introducing myself, or is that what I'm doing?
Yeah, the program lead from your organization can give the details, and everyone else can always give their name. Yep.
I'm Nancy Leonard. I am a senior program manager with the State Fisheries Commission, and I work with Monica and Laura from KBMP, and then also working with Randy. So his consent contracts with us, and to try and figure it out by now, I'm also working with Fish and Wildlife Service for next week's meeting.
Hi, my name is Charlie Creamer. I'm with the Fish and Wildlife Service. Some of you see my names for asking for emails. I do a lot of our cooperative agreements, as well as non state surveys in the basin funding, national fish passage projects, and agreement projects for all the parties in passage. Current project of mine is removal. Otherwise, to me, that wouldn't be too much. So that's not the main place that happens.
Eli Zarian with Urban Sciences in Eureka. Some projects that I'm working on for the tribal consortium are well, some stuff, some hydrologic stuff on Shasta and Scott that I'll present on this afternoon. Also helping some of the consortium trying to update their water quality standards. We're getting close to being done on that. And also working with Kate Perkins on a state of the basin report for Shasta River that presented for Scott River version several years ago. We're doing a Shasta version now. So that's consortium projects. Let's see. Have a project with USGS to update the RBM10 water temperature model that recommended the USGS to manage flows on the climate. And I have another contract on this one with a subcontractor, this Stillwater Sciences, who's the main contractor, and stuff. So ideas for water course. The project for Bureau of Reclamation to look at the lower Klamath flow management on the lower Klamath related to adult salmon and fish disease like in the fall there. So we're doing kind of a retrospective review of all past information over the past 20 years or so. And then finally, project for nature conservancy, we can modify the consumptive use of agriculture in the French Creek watershed for an stream flow there.
Keith Brown, Shasta Valley Resource Conservation District. We are continuing our TMDL monitoring, a lot of temperature and dissolved oxygen across the watershed. still working on individual projects, sort of transitioning more to on-farm efficiency now that Western River has been fenced. Happy to announce we recently received funding for through DWR's CalCIP for more functional stream gauges in the Shasta Basin, one of which is bringing back to life the Wairika gauge, which saw substantial influence this last winter, so that was pretty exciting. We continue to support individual projects with stage and flow monitoring. And that's all we got right now.
I work with Ethan at RCD at the time.
I'm Michael Stapleton. I'm a board member of the Scott River Watershed Council.
And Betsy Stapleton, I'm a staff member of the board, on the Watershed Council, and you'll hear about one of our really large projects if you're able to hang in until the end of the day, which I hope you do. And then really taking a Watershed Council approach of looking from the rooftops to the mouth of the river with the Klamath, looking at fuels, fires, monitoring, community gardens, just really trying to serve our community, natural and human, in any way we can.
Tori Tyler, U.S. Bureau of Reclamation out of the Klamath Falls office. With me today are Danielle Herford, Wade, and Eric Ryland. We're part of, most of the team group out of that office. Mostly funding collaborators, probably the role that many of you know us as we look to develop models and other tools, as well as collect data to feed to those models to help us understand how the climate project operations in the upper basin affect the downstream riverine environment, as well as the reservoirs in the upper basin. We have various ongoing projects in-house on our own, but most of that's in the upper basin, the southern monitoring and some water management internal to the irrigating project. So good to see you all again.
My name is Mike Diaz, with Water Course Engineering at AS. I think the principal work right now is with reclamation and USDS at Keno Reservoir, the Klamath Lake, doing the range of water quality studies and modeling. Probably, maybe for this group, the most interesting thing is we've decided to pick up a little bit of that monitoring that was done in the KHSA IM15. Little gap up there at Keno Reservoir, so we started last year, we'll take it on this year, and we'll see if we can continue that going. So we can feed that back into here this room.
I'm Dominic Judici. I'm a senior specialist with CDFW in Wairika, working on the Klamath River project. That's last tell.
Well, yeah, I don't know, awkward order here, but anyways, I'm working connectly, Conservation Wildlife. Let's see here, we're working with our, operators across the basin, primarily to estimate adult abundance of snook salmon and cove salmon. And the fair amount of within the areas of anatomy, and those are, data sets that are primarily utilized for harvest management and ESA trend monitoring. We've been pretty excited in the recent past with the, the new available habitat for operating some of the new stations in Shovel Creek and Jenny Creek, and we've got lots of ongoing changes associated with the decommissioning of Iron Gate Hatchery and the ramping up of Fall Creek Hatchery, and just appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you.
My name is Alpha Junior Gutierrez, and I'm an environmental scientist for Company of Permanent Fish and Wildlife. I lead the analysis on it, monitoring on the Scott and Shasta River. Right now we're in the middle of our recent group tracking season, and once that wraps up, we're gonna jump into snorkel survey.
Hi, my name's Rachel Kane. I'm with the CDFW and Alma on a river program right now.
Hi, I'm Christine Dooley. I'm with the BC Corps member, serving with CDFW Wairika, and in the fall I was here for the Common Morgan, and then now I'm on the team with the Almond.
So,
Fisheries Program Manager with the Root Tribe. I think both come here and Randy and Larry are here today with us. Not sure if there's anyone from our water quality program online, but we do a lot of different things. We assist with outmigrant trapping on the main stem of Klamath with Fish and Wildlife Service. We work with the collaborative effort for the Fall Chinook Survey, the Morgan's team, and a bunch of other people in this room. We're specifically working on some projects in the upper, kind of newly, with the habitat, cow trout on the sonar and some tail netting and radio telemetry. Working on the salmon river, we have some outrider traps there. We're doing grab samples of juvenile Chinook, with Amy, and we'll talk about that. We're live with disease sample. Just Fish and Wildlife Service lab. We're working with Allison McDowd, and some graduate students from local parks. And did a food web study before and after damage. That's happening. I think. Sorry. It's walked into this. Go off the bus. Fish and Wildlife, that's quality monitoring program is working on, a lot of the monitoring, post dam. Bunch of songs, and they're all real time. And they're available at, Group Water Quality's, website, or root.us is quality. But that's a huge part of what they do. They also do the water sampling for fish disease. So and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other things. We do help with the monitoring of restoration projects. And we're working just watershed.
Karina Greenberg, Restoration Director for the San River Wisconsin Council, and similar to fantasy review kind of also the San River from the top of the basin down, we work specifically with our partners of the group tribe. We are working on inventorying and hopefully this season starting collaborative meadow restoration for tribe liquid. We are have extensive long-term waterfalls or waterfalls in flow. We do all types of salmon surveys, or dive, project surveys, working with different tribes and differently on the Chinook, juvenile Chinook monitoring. We application and long-term fuel stuff. We are also in the midst of a bunch of large flood restoration and large wood building projects. Pretty excited to start working on a really large floodplain project at Lamar on the North Fork late this fall and then going into the next 2 years. We are also working with the tribe on land break surveys on the San River and a bunch of other things. Lyra Cressy, I am the Associate Director of the San River Restoration Council and the co-chair of the KBMP Festival.
Hi, everybody. Mike Thomas. I've worked with a lot of you all previously as the freshwater harmful algal coordinator. Rich Faddis's retirement last year, steps to the role of the regional monitoring coordinator. But I have a list here of updates for other staff at the regional water board. I'm not able to attend today. So for the Lost River Stewardship Planning process on the Lower Klamath, we have Matt St. John working on that project. It's just beginning, that they are engaged in the process. Excited to work with partners like the water management solutions, water basin. Within, reach. For Scott and Shasta, we have Eli Scott on our staff working on those projects. Many of you may know there's a board meeting today. And that's the topic. They are also working on the general waste discharge requirements. Got Shasta watersheds, emergency drought regulation implementation, and conducting inventory conditions monitoring with Scott again this year. Then we have Jake Shannon working on the Klamath restoration work. A lot of work with permitting and working for CEQA compliance these projects. I've got a list of 17 projects here. Now, type in shape. But some of the stuff I'm working on, we are doing benthic monitoring in the Klamath Basin this year. We're working with the private consortium to try to identify potential benthic cyanobacteria blooms. We're working on that project. Please meet me after the meeting outside and have a bunch of the supplies ready for that project. But otherwise, yeah, if you guys see any blooms in the basin, just please let me know. We do have emergency incident response funding available to do this. Thanks.
I didn't know that. The valley water. I don't know.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hans Boyd. I'm with the 2 o'clock tribe of Draw people. We're located down in near the estuary, the upper end of the estuary. That's a great phone. Some of the work that we're doing right now is focused on Junior Creek and the Junior Creek wetlands. We just completed a 3-year comprehensive watershed restoration strategy in which we're going to, primarily try to benefit non-natal. Some monitoring winter, the wetlands are extremely productive, but they also are degraded habitats. Due to some funding constraints, we weren't able to do quantitative monitoring this year, but we have continued our qualitative efforts to track temporal and spatial trends of use in wetlands. Right now, we're documenting the small immigration, as well as water quality. We've been tracking that we tracked that from November to June. It's an intermittent system that's rain activated. So once the rainfall kind of ceases, the conditions start to decline quickly. As of last week, we were still seeing the EOs above everywhere above 5. So still doing well, but the water is getting lower. See what else. I'm also doing some work with the North Coast 6 PP work group, comprised of the folks from State Water Boards, tribes, EPA, Josh Cahill, and it's in that group, as well as some others in this room, I think. We're trying to work together to develop a unified methodology for folks to assess whether 6 ppq is impacting the waterways, and essentially from Delaware down to Sonoma. And we have a big boulder replacement construction kind of project that's going to be implemented this summer. The culverts on lower culverts on Junior Creek, block upgrade will be, they're vastly undersized, will be replaced with 100-year flow event size pipes, and Junior Creek will have a daylight section that's currently buried. That's about it for now. Thank you.
I'm Rick Clement. I work for Reclamation. We already covered our activities, so. That is in
My name is David Goodwin, Cook Tribe. Worked in fisheries with the Cook Tribe, fisheries in the early 2000s, and then relocated out towards the valley, now with Port Valley in Indian Reservation fishery. Yeah, happy to be part of all projects going on in the Klamath and the Scott.
Chris Schaefer, Quartz Valley. We have a pretty extensive water quality and quantity monitoring program throughout the basin, that these guys both participate in. And, we have a real strong education system as well. We're monitoring HABs. We are, yeah, we do so much. We've got some wildlife projects going on right now as well. As I mentioned yesterday, we are focused on the mountain at Shackelford and doing what we can do to fix that issue. And, advocating for, people and fish. That's what we do.
Hi, my name is Josh Gable. I'm the dog program manager for your Tribe Environmental Department. Kind of jumped around because I'm pretty staffed up here, and I just figured I'd introduce my coworkers and save a little bit of time. Got Cat Major, she's a water quality specialist. Got Mariah and Rose over here. They're named WSP Corps members, or WSP Corps members. Thatcher, Colorado, and June from Alara. I didn't mess it up this time. Raphael Sevilla, water quality specialist. Julian Palmisano, water quality specialist. Ramps the Leaf, data scientist, and Joseph Grant, our technician. We do a wide range of water quality and water quantity monitoring. We can send time of river, tributaries, groundwater, wetlands, and we're also looking at a lot of emerging contaminants that Hans had just mentioned, about like 60 million PFAS. We do a lot of, we have a lot of different objectives as to why we do this monitoring. Like some of it is for dam removal compliance monitoring. Some of it is for public health, with like the FABs and bacteria sampling, and just the community water scarcity, or water security. We have a huge list of partners that we work with. We do a lot with the travel consortium, obviously, and just wanted to give a big shout out to Grant and Larry and John from the County Water Quality. They've been huge help. We've gone through these times of growing pains.
I'm Ben King, environmental scientist with CDFW in Wairika under Crystal, and my team is working on altering the juveniles in the newly available tributaries between Iron Gate and State Line, but primarily is comprised of outmigrant trapping with a slightly lower priority, but still important focus on oversummering juveniles in those tributaries, specifically using occupancy models to track the spatial dynamics of the reintroduction going over the new tributary.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Skiles, and I work for Oregon Water Resources Department. I'm the South Central Region Manager that includes the Klamath Basin, and I'm the Water Master for the Klamath Basin. And we regulate water rights and maintain a whole network of street gauges throughout the basin.
Any other further information?
Megan Skinner, water quality specialist with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in Klamath Falls. And my work focuses on water quality in Upper Klamath Lake and the associated watershed to support recovery of our critically endangered southern species. I have a number of ongoing monitoring projects related to wetland restoration and reconnection. Also in the natural wildlife refuges to support sucker recovery. And I'm chasing various emerging cyanobacteria issues throughout the upper basin. In terms of research and reporting, about to wrap up a water quality report for Tule Lake Lower and Lower Klamath Natural Wildlife Refuges, and also Gerber Reservoir in support of potential sucker recovery actions. For those of you who attended the fall pre-bump, I presented on some SPAT cyanotoxin monitoring work. Also working on a report and hopefully manuscript related to that. And then also investigating consistency between HOBO loggers for pH, conductivity, and dissolved oxygen compared with our multi-SON or multi-parameter YSI SONs. We'll have that report out soon. Also investigating a couple novel water quality improvement techniques in collaboration with others. And I hope to have many more updates related to research I've investigated over the winter. But as a federal employee, we have some uncertain funding, not sure if people have heard. So yeah, a couple other things in the pipeline, assuming that I can identify funding sources for those things. So maybe in the fall, I'll have some more thorough updates, but that's all for now. Thank you.
I got skipped, so I'll just go now. I'm Emily Chen, I'm a foreign meteorologist at the Wild Salmon Center, and I'm about to give a presentation right now, analyzing a lot of data that people collect on fish, on trips and Hi, I'm Erica Harris. I'm a stewardship director with the Siskiyou Land Trust, and we strategically acquire lands and conservation easements. We implement a number of stewardship projects across the watershed, work across Siskiyou County, so it includes projects for health, fire resiliency, meadow restoration, and we partner with a lot of the organizations that are here today and are always looking for new partnerships.
I'm Randy Turner with the Climate-Based Monitoring Program. Heard me talk plenty already today. But there's one other project I didn't mention, finding funding to keep going. So that's high priority.
I'm Amy Fingerly. I'm a PhD student at UC Berkeley. All three of my dissertation chapters are climate focused or involved with climate in some way. But what I'll present on later this afternoon is work with the Creek Tribe, SRC, and the other groups on Chinook runtime and genotype distribution across the Salmon and Climate rivers.
And I'm Crystal Robinson, I'm a supervisor for the Land Watershed Program, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I co-chair with Lyra on NABOM. You heard from Ben and Alma, they're leading the juvenile migration work on the tributaries from Scott River to State Line. And I also supervise and lead staff that are following and tracking dam removal and restoration. Of course, the dams have moved, so I guess we're just talking excavation now. That's a good thing. And probably of most interest to this group is I work really closely with the State Water Board on the in-stream flow and drought regulatory process that's happening at the Scottish Shasta. And you'll see a few presentations from various groups on that today. So. Oh yes, let's go online. How do you want to do that?
If folks want to give a update for the people online, go ahead and raise your hand and just proceed in that order. Jake.
Hello, I'm Jake Hahn with Aquatic Ecosystem Sciences, a couple of projects of relevance. The project with NIFWIF and working with Megan Skinner of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service on updating the Upper Klamath Lake long-term hydrologic and nutrient balances. And we should be wrapping that up by this summer. So that'll be an extension of previous balances that we reported on. Some of that work has really been instrumental in understanding the timing of nutrient dynamics and internal loading relevant to Upper Klamath Lake algal blooms. So that's forthcoming. Another project working directly with the Klamath tribes and with Eli Assarian of Riverbend Sciences is updating the temperature analysis that we previously completed that took data up through 2020 of from the Klamath tribes network of thermographs. And that project has a special emphasis on determining if we can find a signal from the bootleg fire on temperature dynamics. The other part of that was supposed to look at incorporating results from the natural flow study to determine how that might affect in-stream temperatures, but it doesn't look like those results will be available to us in the timeline we need to complete our report. And then the last project I'll give an update on is working with a subcontractor to Stillwater Sciences, looking at the potential effect of the Williamson River Delta Preserve on reducing phosphorus loads from the Sprague and Williamson. So they've been doing some particle size distribution on sediment coming in to the Delta and looking at phosphorus associated with that to come up with some scenarios. And and do some preliminary modeling on how much of that load coming into the lake from the Williamson might be able to be settled out in the Williamson River Delta Preserve. So that's what I have for now.
That's right.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just have a couple quick updates on the primary production work that we've been doing on the Klamath. If you want to hear a little bit about the first 2 years of data that we collected, Missy Tang, a master's student working with us, will be defending next Thursday at 11 a.m. You can shoot me a message and I will send you the Zoom link. Otherwise, we plan to be back out there this summer, but probably only at Tree of Heaven. Our federal funding was completely terminated, so we have been scraping pennies together to pull together a field crew. So we're probably going to sample at Tree of Heaven, but no other sites this summer. But we will, at least we want to try to document what happens there since we had such a big flow year, and it'll be the first sort of clear water year after dam removal. So that's our plan for the summer. Thanks.
Shahab.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shahab. I'm with the Water Board. Well, actually, I don't have any update right now because I'm going to have a presentation in a couple of hours, so I keep my updates for that time. Just wanted to say hi to everyone. That's it for now.
Steve? Steve Goff?
Yeah, am I next or I see Ron's hand up as number one?
Sorry about that. Yep, Ron, go ahead.
All right, howdy everyone. This is Ron Stone, California Nevada Fish Health Center. As far as updates go, sampling season has kind of just begun. So I actually picked up samples yesterday from the Arcata trailer. Probably be running our first plate looking for prevalence of infection by qPCR for Sea Shasta. Also have some juvenile monitoring going on and some disease screening doing. And we also have a fish health inspection report that's about to come out for the Hoopa tribe, looking at fish there prior to release. All those fish look fantastic. And then we also work with folks in Southern Oregon, both tribe and federal, looking at the suckers up there and fish health as it's related to the propagation facilities. But yeah, our stuff is just about to get fired off, so that's where we're at.
Belcheck.
Good afternoon, everybody. Oshun O'Rourke couldn't make it. Could you? Oh, you're not on Oshun, are you? I was looking through the attendees. So I'm going to give our update for our Klamath River crew. They're doing macro invert sampling at 13 sites from Blue Creek to Oregon. Samples taken quarterly. They're doing fish assemblage seining, 7 sites from Gottville to Copco Bridge. These 2 are being done in collaboration with UC Davis. Outmigrant trapping the trap has not been deployed yet due to high flows, but they're hoping to get the trap in on May 12th next week. Sturgeon tagging, there's no tagging this year, but there are receivers deployed to monitor sturgeon that are tagged from elsewhere. There's a juvenile telemetry study with USGS, Karuk tribe, and Hoopa tribe. Probably heard about that. Deploying receivers this week. Plan to start tagging Witchpeck week of May 12th if the fish are above 70 millimeters. In addition, there's always the fish disease sampling, the spore sampling at Tule Creek. That's it for right now.
Josh Boyce. Oh, sorry, Mike.
I was going to say, we have our water quality program, folks that are there, and there's so much more that's going on. I'm just reporting on main stem Klamath stuff. There's a lot more.
Josh.
All right, thank you. I'm Josh Boyce. I'm a fish biologist in Arcata with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I'm involved with 2 projects on the Klamath. One is In 2023, we translocated about 8,000 Western Ridge mussels below Iron Gate, further downstream in anticipation of dam removal and the sediment plume that was predicted to come from that. And this summer, we're finally able to get back out there, hopefully in June, to monitor those translocated mussels. They were all pit tagged and geolocated. And so if anyone's interested in helping us out, we could definitely use more folks on the ground, either snorkeling or running a pit tag wand reader. Hit me up. I can give you all the details, but we're shooting for mid-June to do that follow-up survey from the translocation that happened in 2023. Excuse me. The other project that I'm involved with is we expanded our efforts to monitor annelid worm habitat and distribution into the hydroelectric reach, and that also started in 2023. We successfully constructed 3 hydraulic models of 3 separate reaches, one of which was right below J.C. Boyle, and then the other 2 were within a few miles upstream of Copco Reservoir. And so we constructed those models, we have outputs, and we've been able to assist our collaborator, Julie Alexander at Oregon State, to help her with her sampling for annelid worm distribution. And we're hoping that also this summer and fall, we can go to our 3 sites that have been in existence since 2011 at the Community Center, Tree of Heaven, and Beaver Creek to update those models, given the fact that there's some evidence that there's a lot of topographic change in those areas. So that's what I got. Thank you.
We have Stephanie Quinn-Davidson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Stephanie Quinn-Davidson. I'm the Science and Policy Director for Ridges to Riffles Indigenous Conservation Group. We are relatively new to this game. We are a partner on the Cal Trout Sonar Monitoring Project. And then we also stepped in to facilitate the fisheries coordination calls that are happening monthly. And so that's kind of where we're at with this. We don't do any other direct monitoring on the river, but we are here to learn and listen.
Gunter.
Yes, hello. My name is Melissa Gunter. I just recently joined RES as a water quality solutions manager with an eventual focus on the West Coast. So I'm really here today just learning about all the incredible work that's being done out there and all of the amazing partnerships. So thank you for this opportunity. That's it.
Lexi Karen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lexi Karen. I'm an environmental manager out of the San Francisco district of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I have a really exciting update to share about the Army Corps' Klamath Basin Aquatic Ecosystem Restoration Study that we're partnering with the Yurok tribe. Over the last couple of months, we've been having focused conversations with our tribal partners, our agency partners, to successfully scope down our very large study area, which was the entire Klamath River watershed, to 3 subbasins, including the Scott, the Shasta, and the Upper Mid-Klamath. We did have a handful of public meetings earlier in March where I got to meet a lot of you in person and online, but our update is that we will be focusing now just on the Shasta River subbasin. So the work really begins now. Really excited to continue to work with you all. We will have a formal announcement coming your way in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. I can provide my email or our project email in the chat if that would be helpful for you all. Thanks so much.
Suzanne Rhodes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne Rhodes. I'm an aquatic ecologist with Applied River Sciences, formerly known as McBain Associates. And we, along with Trout Unlimited, University of Nevada, Reno, Eli Sarian, and Todd Buxton, are working on a project to develop updated in-stream flow recommendations for the lower Shasta River with a series of analyses to address uncertainties in flow temperature relationships and flow habitat relationships for juvenile and adult salmonids.
John.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I can't be there in person.
I'm John Harrison. I am a professor in the School of the Environment at Washington State University, and my group has a project supported by the Bureau of Reclamation to look at greenhouse gas and carbon dynamics before, during, and after dam removal in Iron Gate, Copco, J.C. Boyle reservoirs, and compare those with a reference system, Keno. And we've been out there over the last year and a half or so, and are planning to be out again this summer, making some additional measurements.
And Steve.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Our office, I'm at the Arcata Fish and Wildlife office. We're involved with a number of salmon outmigration and adult monitoring projects. I guess I'll start with juvenile outmigrant monitoring on the main stem Klamath, since that ties in with what Ron Stone mentioned, and with fish health collections, as well as what Taz mentioned earlier. We are continuing to run outmigrant monitoring stations at the I-5 site above, a little upstream of the Shasta River, as well as our Kinsman site a little bit upstream of the Scott River. Those operations have been conducted since 2001, 2002, so long-term data set to be continued. Further down the river, the Yurok tribe is operating a rotary screw trap at the Witchbeck site, beginning of a longer-term project that's been in place for about 4 years now. I think I got that right. Moving on to other population assessments we do, abundance and distribution during the salmon spawning survey seasons on the main stem Klamath, continuing monitoring downstream of Iron Gate Dam, as we've done since 1997, and incorporating the state line to Iron Gate Reach, all in coordination with the Karuk and the Yurok tribes.
And Laura?
Hi, everyone. Just have a couple of projects to mention today. One is that I'm working with Grant and John at the Karuk tribe, looking at the effects of the McKinney fire on kind of longer term river production and respiration. So all the way from before the McKinney fire up through the end of 2023. So kind of seeing what the sediments did to river function there. Also working with Desiree and Oregon State University on kind of this long-term sampling of filamentous algae and rooted plants. And in addition to the every 2-week sampling that they're trying to do at Tree of Heaven, we're also trying to pull together our once per year 10 site samples that we started in 2019. So we do plan to be out this summer from below Iron Gate Dam all the way down toward the mouth of the river, surveying there to keep that data set going, which has been a big collaborative effort from the consortium and a lot of other groups, and now with Oregon State's support. And the last thing I wanted to mention is an educational project. I think a lot of you probably heard of Rios to Rivers, but there's going to be a group of 15 to 30 plus youth from the Klamath Basin descending the Klamath River from the Wood River spring all the way down to the estuary. They're going to be doing their big descent from mid-June through July 11th. So if you see a big group of kayakers out there, it's going to be a bunch of local indigenous kids from the Klamath Basin doing the first full descent of the river since the dams have been removed. So stop and say hello and mark July 12th on your calendar for a big celebration to celebrate them and their journey. And I'm happy if anyone has any questions about that to get in touch and chat more.
Hi, Brian. Can't hear you if you're on mute.
Oh, there. Sorry, I didn't hear my name called out, so I was just patiently waiting. Hi, everybody. Ryan from the Wairika Fish and Wildlife Office. Apologize, I'm not there in person. We just have some in-office capacity coverage issues, so trying to listen as best I can. So project I missed what the general ask was, so I'll blather a little bit. Hopefully folks are okay with that. Our office provides a considerable amount of funding for the fall escapement surveys for Chinook on the Klamath. We've been doing so since early 80s, and we will continue to prioritize that. In addition to that, I think currently we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 active habitat restoration projects going on across the Shasta Valley, the Scott Valley, and the Salmon River watershed. And yeah, that's enough for now.